Today we're at Bird's Eye Outfitters in Sault Sainte Marie, Michigan, and I'm going to talk with Roger Blanchard, retired chemistry professor from Lake Superior State University. He's a Sault Sainte Marie resident and a biking enthusiast. We're in the newly established Foxhole Bike and Ski Shop, which is in the lower level of the Bird's Eye Outfitters store. Morning, Roger. Thank you for being here. How long have you been an advocate for biking, and why?
Well, we started the bicycle-friendly Sioux in approximately 2016, and the objective was to make Sault Sainte Marie a bicycle-friendly community.
Okay. Why?
Well, my objective is to make it safer and more convenient for people on bicycles. And obviously, it, from my perspective, makes the city more appealing. So if you look at European cities, pretty much all European cities today are really pushing bicycle infrastructure to make the cities more appealing.
Okay. Do you own a car or any kind of motorized vehicle?
No, I don't.
How do you mow your lawn?
With a manual lawnmower.
What type of bike and gear do you use personally?
Well, I have a road bike, red, now I can't remember the name of it, but it's a road bike, nothing fancy.
You also have a trailer, I think, that you use to haul materials around?
Yeah, I certainly have a trailer that goes on the bike.
Sure, and I know you have an orchard outside of town.
I have an orchard.
And what do you have at the orchard?
Mostly apple trees. I have approximately 130 apple trees, and I also do have some hazelnut trees.
Okay, how big of a piece of property is it?
The total area is about 11 acres, but in terms of the orchard it would be about 3 acres.
Okay, and you haul your materials and things like that for the most part out there with your bike and the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay. How far is it?
It's approximately 11 miles out there and then 11 miles back.
It must keep you busy.
Yeah, so on the days I go out there it's about 22 miles just for the trip out and back.
Sure. What are some of the challenges or limitations you've experienced by not having motorized transport, especially in a small rural area?
Well, I live in town, so I really don't have any problem in Sault Sainte Marie. If I were to, say, go to St. Ignace or Marquette, I would probably have to rent a car or get a ride from somebody. In the wintertime, I don't ride just because I don't feel like crashing, slipping on the ice and snow.
What are the benefits that you see of not having motorized transport?
Well, I certainly save a lot of money. I don't have to buy a motor vehicle, so
or car insurance or any of the above, gasoline.
So that would be the big advantage.
Sure. Some people say that having bicycles on the road with the cars can be dangerous, and that bikes should have their own path. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm a strong advocate of protected bike lanes. So a protected bike lane has some barrier between the motor vehicle lanes and the bike lane. I am not an advocate of bike paths. A bike path is separated from the road typically by, I'll say, 20, 30 feet or more. And what happens is that the people in motor vehicles aren't really paying attention to people on bicycles, and so in driveways and side streets that can be a real problem. Vehicles coming in or going out aren't really paying attention to bicycles, and one of the worst places for me here in town is along the I-75 spur, because you have a bike path that is typically separated by 20 to 30 feet from the road, and people aren't paying attention who are driving down the road, they'll turn into a driveway or into a side street, and you really have to be paying attention to the vehicles coming from behind you.
I heard a bicyclist got killed recently in the last month or so
Correct.
on a bike, riding out on 3 Mile, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, very unfortunate. There are no bike paths in that area or any kind of separation.
No.
And of course it was winter time, so that makes it even more challenging for everybody.
Yeah. I will say on 3 Mile, I'm assuming he was on 3 Mile, there is a little bit of paved shoulder, but with the snowplows may not have plowed that paved shoulder off. During the wintertime, the streets get narrower in town.
Right. So why should we pursue, or why are you pursuing the bike-friendly status, and what are the benefits?
Well, I am pursuing it for 2 reasons. I'd certainly like to see more people riding around town on bikes. I think it can be very convenient. For the most part, I don't have to ride more than maybe a few miles within town to get basically where I need to go. So to make it more appealing for bicyclists, I think a lot of people who don't ride bikes are afraid to ride bikes because they're afraid of getting run down. So from my perspective, if we can get protected bike lanes on the streets, it would make it more appealing for people, and it would make it safer.
Yeah. What is the process of achieving the status of bike-friendly?
Well, bicycle-friendly communities is a designation from the League of American Bicyclists, and so you have to apply for it. And they have various requirements. They have what are termed the 5 E's, like engineering, how much infrastructure do you have, education, various things like that. So you need to apply, and actually the city of Sault Sainte Marie applied in 2017, and at that time I knew we wouldn't get say bronze status just because we didn't have the infrastructure necessary, but I thought it was important to at least go through the process of applying, and we got honorable mention, which is what I had expected. So what has happened over the last 5 years is the city manager left, and we got a new city manager. The city engineer retired, and we got a new city engineer, and that has delayed any progress on our part.
Sure. So there's different tiers that are available based on what requirements you've achieved, based on what they're specifying.
Yeah, so there are 5, I believe there's 5 levels: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. And it would, to a large extent, it's dealing with the infrastructure, the bicycle infrastructure.
So what's the current status here in Sault Sainte Marie then?
Okay, for over a year now, we've been meeting quarterly with the city manager, and our last 2 meetings we had the city engineer, which I thought was very important, because much of what we're talking about is bicycle infrastructure, which really deals with the engineering of the streets in town. So we are making progress, and I personally am making various recommendations about what we should be doing in terms of modifying the streets to make them more bicycle friendly.
Who all has been involved? You mentioned some of the government officials, but are there other people who have been involved?
Well, within Bicycle Friendly Sioux, Emily Weber and Wayne Beery have been involved. And what I've been trying to do is get a variety of people at the meetings. So I have actually invited a variety of people. Scott Korb, who you know has been there quite frequently, And John Kehoe has been there quite frequently. Jim Page has been there fairly frequently. So
Good. And I'm sure others, but yeah.
yeah.
Good. What needs to change in Sault Ste. Marie for us to actually be able to achieve the bike-friendly status?
Well, from my perspective, the biggest thing is just improving the bicycle infrastructure. There are other things like education. We really need to get what they term somebody who has been certified in training bicyclists or training people for riding. I can't remember the name of what they call it, but there's a program in the League of American Bicyclists where you get certified to be an instructor for bicycling.
Sure, and then you come back and you educate people
Yeah.
in various forms in the community.
Yeah, that is really a big requirement through the League of American Bicyclists.
How can the city help to promote this movement? What can the city government do for us?
Well, I would again say the biggest thing is just making it clear to the public that the city is pushing for improving bicycle infrastructure and then actually following through on that effort. Yeah, money is a big issue. And at one of the recent meetings, I brought up a program called TAPS, that's Transportation Alternative Program, through the federal government. So it's a way to get money for bicycle infrastructure.
Is that a grant type of a
Yeah.
system?
Yep.
Are there other cities that you're modeling this after in your personal vision?
Yeah, certainly Houghton and Marquette. They have both achieved bicycle-friendly community status, and both have silver status. So they've improved from their bronze status. And I think most people who live in those communities, I would hope, think that it has been an improvement to the cities.
So what are the next steps?
Well, our next step is to again meet regularly. We have another meeting in April, and I have tried to encourage the city manager to apply again for bicycle-friendly community status. He's been hesitant to do that. He wants to see us improve the infrastructure before we apply again. So I'm hoping that we can get some projects finished this summer, and then that would be sufficient to apply for the status.
Sure. And I think I can answer this question. What do you need from the community to make it happen? And it sounds like involvement, community involvement.
Yeah.
People who want to see this happen and come out and show support for it.
Correct. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for your time, Roger. We appreciate it very much. And you have a great day.
And when do I get that $1 million check for?
Oh, it's in the mail.
Oh, okay. Actually, I'll waive the check.
Thank you.